Good day. Let's talk about Psalms 120 today, which is one of the 15 Psalms called Songs of Assents. Beginning in Psalm 120 and going through Psalm 134 are 15 Psalms which are entitled Songs of Ascents. The story is that the people of Israel would make 3 pilgrimages to Jerusalem each year, and they had sing these songs as a community on the journey. You also have been on long trips before, and singing or talking about good will always triumph over traveling with those whose conversations are mixed with gossip, nastiness, silliness, nonsense. Singing these 15 psalms was a good first step in the healing of their souls. The physical sense of this is that they were always moving up as they traveled to Jerusalem, which was the highest elevation and central location for worship. Obviously, we don't make those pilgrimages. However, these psalms are still very relevant to us in a metaphorical state. And it's worth the time to prayerfully examine them. Let's look at the first one, Psalm 120. From the Message Bible, let's read. I'm in trouble. I cry to God, desperate for an answer. Deliver me from the liars, God. They smile so sweetly, but lie through their teeth. Do you know what's next? Can you see what's coming, all you bold-faced liars? Pointed arrows and burning coals will be your reward. I'm doomed to live in Meshach, cursed with a home in Kedar. My whole life lived camping among quarreling neighbors. I'm all for peace, but the minute I tell them so, they go to war. This psalm is really not even a pleasant one to read in some senses. It's difficult. It's has a tone of desperation in it. And when we look at verse 1 and 2 here, we see that the psalmist has trouble, distress in his life. For all of us, we may avoid some problems by following Jesus, but no one is exempt from all the problems. Following him enables you to navigate those troubles with his grace and mercy, in humility, thankfulness, hopefulness, and with steady perseverance. And that's largely what much of the Bible is a story of. If you're going to make it, the earlier you learn to cry out to the Lord, the better the journey. The psalmist does not merely use the word said. The word cry holds a meaning of desperation. Knowing what to do in your troubles is the first step of making it. Some never learn to cry out to God. Others, in their walk with the Lord, follow at a distance. They try their own solutions. Other believers have learned, and their testimonies are recorded as good stories in the midst of terrible circumstances. Rest assured the Lord will hear you. He does give us space in living our lives. He doesn't crowd us in or hem us up in a corner. God desires for us to willingly be the sheep of his pasture, where he restores our soul as needed. The Lord knows we will need deliverance or help throughout our days. And our soul, as mentioned here in these early verses, is the composite of our lives. It's connected to our heart, our will, our spirit, thoughts, feelings, body, and social interactions. Those components of our soul can get so tangled up, hardened, hurt, fragmented, deadened. He understands that. He understands we get confused and troubled, and that we need him to sort it out, and he's willing. Verses 2 and 3, the problem identified here in this psalm is living with people who lie, are dishonest, deceitful, and they even want to hurt you. This is not a unique or unfamiliar scene throughout our human history. People are surely near the top of this world's problems, and the ones who shape the culture that we live in. Consider the violence and damage to God's creation throughout the history of our earth. There are those who might say the human race is advancing in goodness as history progresses. Not true. There's no answer to this world's troubles other than Jesus. Inside the kingdom of heaven that Jesus talks so much about in the Gospels, there's freedom, truth, and safety. Psalm 120 mentions the people of Meshach and Kedar. Those were people north of Israel and bordering them who were hostile, savage, barbaric, and at the very best contentious and unreasonable. They were out to disagree with everyone who wasn't in their group. That's tiresome. We have those same people around us. What is a solution when we are bottomed out? Verses 5 through 7, the psalm concludes by the statement, I'm doomed to live with these people. The word unless is not used here, but it's hanging in the air. Doomed unless what happens? Unless there's an answer. Thus, the opening song in this book, I would not call it a happy psalm, but a necessary one if you're going to deal with the complexities of this life. It's quite somber with a hint of desperation. It's a real psalm for real living people and sincerely related to our lives in some form. There will be a time when we have distress and we too need help. The writer here has had it and he's desperate and he's intent on getting down to business. The psalmist is so weary of lies, of living in a world surrounded by falsehoods. You know, we too live in a world of falsehoods. Politics, money, food, churches, workplaces, family, identities, advertisers, salesmen, friends even. And if we're connected to God in some fashion, there is at least a bit, and ranging to a lot, of yearning for peace and truth. What is the peace that's mentioned in this psalm? It's a word you've heard, shalom, meaning wholeness, well-being, and harmony. The problem noted here has been presented. What are the options? Well, is it moving? Maybe just join those tribes of people. Go into hiding. Ignore them. Attack them. I think the psalmist had reached the point that he's changing directions. He's restless, beat down. He's decided to go on a pilgrimage to a higher place, Jerusalem, with others who are also making the trip. We too need a community of like-minded people in our group. Find one now and engage. It's not just us alone. We're better with other believers. But for us, the answer is not going to Jerusalem. It does include a spiritual pilgrimage to a higher place as we pursue the Father, Son, and Spirit in our soul. It's a journey, a long, adventuresome one. Peter outlined in his book, 2 Peter 1, that the journey includes adding to our faith things that we don't hear much of in our culture. Things like adding to your faith virtue, knowledge, self-control, perseverance, godliness, brotherly kindness, and love. Some have called discipleship a long obedience in the same direction. That's a good one. Don't let your journey get dull and let your feelings run the show. If it is running the show, you're in trouble. Establish repentance and change directions. It's worth it. We are disciples of Jesus, of which there are no others equal to, and we're pilgrims who are going somewhere. I appreciate what Eugene Peterson says when he says, we'd better get with it. Strip down, start running, never quit. No extra spiritual fat, no parasitic sins. Keep your eyes on Jesus, who both began and finished this race we're in. I hope you can take this beginning chapter, think about it, and then we'll go to chapter 121 next. Thank you for being with us.